Okay, sorry. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I promised you that I'd be back, and I'm back because I always keep my promises. And this time around, I am going to be sharing the slower version. For this, I will try my best to speak slowly because I was criticized for speaking very fast. There is no skipping, nothing, except for this part. I actually went through my sketchbook gifted to me by my best friend. This is where I actually started drawing portraits. It's horrifying, but there's nothing to be worried about. This is how I used to do sketching first. Like, oh god, it looks funny. I used to do a lot of feathering. What the? It is time you guys quit. This is it. This is the moment you stop this video and go back. I am so not qualified for this. In this very sketchbook, I think my sketching improved drastically. You can see it here in the end, like, oh my god, this is so good. I was a lot more patient with my hatching techniques and it showed. As mortifying as it looks, we have to move on. You guys gave me a lot of love for the last video. I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't. Now that we're done with the 20 seconds of motivation, let's head straight into sketching. Like I said, my first reference is very hot. I actually draw this angle a lot. Look at how good the lighting is. Just enough shadows near the jawline, under the eyes. He looks like a guy from Wattpad who would rescue you from mafia, only to put you into more danger. If I could talk about him all day, I would, but we have to sketch. First of all, we're gonna draw the circle. I need to speak slowly. First of all, we're going to draw that circle, and then we're going to draw the oval shape, which is basically going to like show you the flat side of the head, the place where the ear is going to be. And then we're going to draw the horizontal line and the vertical line. I like to be done with the T section. Like, if I get that right, I know that my head is angled perfectly. After that, I think I skipped a lot of steps and I went straight to draw the jawline. Maybe I was like a little bit fancied by his jawline. I moved straight to jawline and the neck because I was actually sketching after a really long time, so I was a little bit paranoid. Then when I'm confident I got this part right, I'm going to check, which is something that I should have done earlier, but it's fine. The ratios were perfect. The line for the nose and then the line for the hairline. If you guys have not seen the Loomis method video, I'm going to suggest go and watch it right now. I'm going to link it up here. The first thing that I draw on this face is the nose. I really was not expecting that. I don't know why. I think his nose is perfect. That is a very discriminating statement, but his nose is perfection. I'm also going to go in and mark the hollow circle for the eyes. And then I draw this straight line, actually like check if the eye corner and the ends of the nose, like nostrils, they match. They need to be on the same line actually. It's a little secret. Now, as I'm also checking the ratios and I see that I'm confident that it is going okay, I will go in and draw the eyebrows. And I'm only doing outlines. I'm not going to like start hatching. I will first draw the outlines. I have this thing where when I get one thing right, for example, I got the nose right and the placement of it right, I use that as a guideline to guide me to the next thing. Then I move to the eyebrows. Once that is done, I'm going to move to the eyes or the mouth. And I'm constantly going to use these guidelines, which basically tell me the exact distance where something is. After this, I'm going to go in and draw the lip. I'm going to divide the last section into two halves. And like I said, for the billionth time, the upper part is where the lips are going to be. And the secret is that the lower lip actually ends where this line ends. So this is what I have to keep in mind. Everything else will fall into place. I'm going to go in and draw the top lip first. I'm going to draw these little circles. Maybe I should do a full-on lip tutorial because these circles are like very handy. They actually denote the part of the lip which is plump, juicy. This is where the fillers go in. So 2 smaller circles for the top lips and 1 bigger circle for the bottom lip. I'm also using an HB pencil. Then I will slowly observe his lips. Like I will keep on looking at the reference like multiple times. I have 2 eyes, one is in the sketch, the other is on the reference. You can imagine what I look like right now. I'm also going to draw this slightly angled line from the nose to mark the ends of the lip. This helps me a lot and I like not messing up with the lips because it is the most daunting thing for me to draw. I think it looks quite alright. I like it. I also realize I don't feather as much as I used to before. Getting more and more confident with my strokes, I see. Strokes. I was so tempted to like finish off lips because I get challenged by lips, but I put away my temptation and I drew the face shape, like the outline. You have to get that right. Whatever curves you see, use these different features that you have drawn to use as a guideline to see where a curve is and try to replicate that. I'm telling you, when you get the ratios right, you get everything else right. Use as much guidelines as possible. I actually use a lot more guidelines and like I spend more time correcting ratios in bigger portraits, but it's a very tiny portrait, so I'm not like giving it a lot of thought. And also I'm not looking for perfectionism. I don't start hatching immediately because I know that once you like put hard strokes of pencil on paper, you actually cannot erase it, and when you do, it looks very messy. You have to preserve the whites as much as possible. So in outlines, I've spent like most amount of time. Let's draw the hair and the major hair flips that you see in the reference. Imagine if this reference was zoomed out, what would you see? Other than the mouth, I think the next challenging thing for me to draw is the hair. I don't like drawing the most perfect hair strands. I only like to draw what I see on the bigger picture. Or you can just call me lazy, it's fine. This is a good thing because it is going to help you in stylization in the future, if there is a future. The thing about drawing ears is that I wish people did not have ears. I hate drawing it. But here's a little secret. When you look at a ear, you see this 5-like shape happening. So if a reference is really dark, or if I cannot see the ears properly, I like to draw this 5 shape inside it, and then I like render it in a way that it looks like it was done by, I don't know, Vincent Van Gogh. Perfect. I have actually never stared at a guy so long, but art world makes me do that. Let's start hatching. Okay, we're gonna start off with the eyebrows first. I will be using this sharp lead pencil. I think it's 2B. And this guy is also giving expression, so the eyelids are like a little bit droopy. He's looking concerned. He should be concerned. I've been staring at him for like, I don't know how long. Like when drawing, and now like the whole world is staring at him because of me. The thing about sketching in layers is that it gives you a really cool 3D effect. Like for example, the outlines that I did were very light strokes and they were kind of like blunt strokes. Then I put like a sharper pencil on top of it. The two layers actually blended out perfectly and it gave a 3D appearance. I also don't like to go for realism. I actually do not enjoy drawing hyper realistic stuff. Kudos to people who do it because it requires a lot of patience and I don't have it. And also that much concentration power. Let's move to the other eye, and you can see that there's a lot of shadows there. But I'm not going to darken it as much as I see in the reference. I use straight lines to hatch. And I don't like move in multiple directions, especially on the face. I do that in the hair, but not on the face. Then we're going to slowly move to the nose. You can see there is a very prominent shadow behind the nose. Cute nose. also on the forehead. Moving to the mouth, the center of the mouth is very dark and it is also slightly open, so I'm going to try my best to preserve a little bit of white to make it look like it's teeth, and I'm going to darken everything else in the center. And the top lip, it also has a little bit of shadow, if you see. A little bit more detailing in the eyebrows. Very simple. I say that about almost everything and then I continue to complicate it. The hair in the eyebrows tend to move outwards, and I like to draw this rugged look at the end to make it look a bit more realistic. Let's move to jawline and make it pop. How do you do that? You put a shadow just beneath it. Whether or not the reference has it, I tend to do a lot of this because I want to pop the jawline a lot more. It still looks very 2D. We will fix it later and make it 3D. I'll show you how. Don't try to copy everything that you see on the reference, especially in the detailing part. You can completely skip a few steps here and there. It's fine. It's fair. Don't get so wrapped up in this idea of perfection and perfectionism that you lose the joy of just sketching. After a certain point of time, I like to put away my reference and then I go all in and I put my own little input into it. This has helped me a lot in finding my own style, even though I don't know what my style is. Put away your reference and just let go and do your own thing. You can say mess around with the shape of the eyes or some other feature. It's fine. In the last part, when I see that almost everything is looking good, I'm going to like observe these areas of minute shadows that I see, and I'm going to use a light blunt pencil, and I'm going to like go in and hatch these shadows. Let's make the jawline look 3D as I promised. You see, what I do is that you already see that I've done very dark strokes just beneath it. So I'm going to use the blunt pencil to go and shade towards the end, and it's making a transition of shadow, which is making it look a bit more realistic. Every time I see a curve like that, I tend to do it. I'm going to repeat this near the nose as well. I think I deliberately chose black and white reference because I'm able to see the shadows and highlights very prominently. Because I think I was also learning, so I did a cute stylized version of this little sketch. You can see that I've tried to copy the same angles for the jawline and the nose and the same facial features, the eyebrows. I've only exaggerated it a little bit, but like it looks so cool. He looks like someone who did not get his coffee in the morning. Wait, I'm also that someone. I did not get my coffee in the morning. Where is my cough anyway? Moving to the next part. This one is like a slightly more angled pose. It's a good thing that I'm only drawing the face. What? The chin area on this one is slightly more smaller because the face is angled in a way where the character is looking at the top. And the chin area is like tilted towards the downwards. So It makes the forehead area a bit more prominent. This girl did not waste any time and she went straight up with all the guidelines. I think when I see a reference first, I start panicking and I quickly want to draw every guideline possible and then move to the next thing, which is the outline, because I love hatching, okay? This is my most favorite part about sketching. It's shading. But the more time I spend with the ratios, I think the less time I will have correcting my sketches in the end. I got a bit more confident after the first sketch. I actually did it very fast, all the guidelines. You can see that the horizontal line is not exactly at the center of the sphere. It is a bit downwards, but angled in a way. There is no particular order in which I work, to be honest. Like in the first one, I did the nose first, and here I went straight for the eyebrows. I think I wanted to use eyebrows as my guideline, and from there, I drew the shape of the nose. It's like one thing will guide to the next thing. Let the lights guide you home. Let the nose guide you to the lips. I also made the eye shape slightly bigger because cartoonized faces have big eyes. I always draw this line from the nose, which is angled like in 60 degrees or 120 degrees if it was in the opposite direction, which basically like marks the area where the ends of the lips are going to be. All my references have open lips. I don't know why I chose these, but luckily you guys can see that I've barely used any razor. I'm getting good at this. I'm so proud of me. This baby has come a long way. This guy also has like very thin top lip, but the bottom lip is like more plump and juicy, and I mean more prominent. After that, I'm going to draw the shape of the face, which is basically the cheekbones, the jawline area, and the forehead area. The hair on this one actually falls over the hairline. I actually like to observe the reference before going for the hair. Like you can see that there's only a very few prominent hair flips. In this case, I think this bigger one, which I copied straight away. I'm not going for like accuracy once again. This is also the part where I'm going to start hatching. The first shadow that I see is like just beneath the eyebrows, and I'm like gonna go in and hatch that. The light is coming from the right direction, and this guy is also looking towards the right. The left area has a lot more shadow, like near the cheekbones. I never do harder strokes on the first layer. It does not look very professional. If you want your sketches to look like a lot more realistic, hatch in like a way where there's a transition from softer strokes on paper to like harder and more defined strokes on the top. Also, another thing to keep in mind is the direction in which you hatch. For example, the cheekbones are like towards the downward, so I'm like trying to hatch in that direction, and the forehead area is angled at the top, so I'm hatching it like in a different direction. And then the nose area, these are the little things that you have to keep in mind. If you get lost in this, imagine a wrapping line going around this. What direction would it go in? And try to hatch in that direction. On the other hand, sometimes you can completely break the rule and do a cross hatching, because it is a very small sketch, so I don't need a lot of cross hatching. As I'm drawing the lips, I'm making sure that I'm preserving the highlights. I'm only keeping the areas darker which I see are darker in the reference. There is only one prominent hair stroke, like I said, I mentioned before. I'm going to copy that first, and then I'm going to create these random strokes in no particular order, and the hair is coming together. When you actually exaggerate these very shapes, I think art is all about shapes and understanding shapes. When you exaggerate these very shapes, you find stylization, and that way you can like cartoonize almost anything that you see. I have also done a little cartoon version for this. I'll show you in the end. I will also not like forget to add these little shadow at the bottom to make it a lot more prominent. And like I said, I've chosen these very sexy references. I don't know why, but they have very sharp jawline. It does not happen with every reference, but with them, yep. So I'm going to like darken the area beneath it to make it a little bit more prominent. A few more muscles near the neck. This was actually like way quicker than the first one. I think after I take a break and come back to sketching, the first sketch that I do is like takes up a lot of my time, and then the second one is quick, fast, and easy. When you let go of this idea of hyperrealism, everything becomes so much easier and like there's so much relief. After a couple of layers of hatching in the hair, what I do is I redefine those shapes that I saw in the beginning, and then it's done. When I did the cartoon version, I think this guy looked more from the Tangled movie. Now let's move to the hardest pose of this series. Well, it's not exactly that hard, but for me, I think it was. This character is being viewed from the bottom. When a character is being viewed from the top or the bottom, perspective comes into play, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. A lot of these rules tend to fail, so you have to be very, very careful with it. For example, in this particular one, the character is looking at the top. So the middle line, the horizontal line for the eyebrows that I talk about so much, won't actually be at like the exact center of the sphere, although it is, but from this angle, it doesn't look like it. Then I'll use that as a guideline to draw the next few lines, which is basically for the nose and the chin. The forehead area is a lot more smaller, and eventually I think the chin area is the biggest. After this, I'm going to draw the shape of the face, following these guidelines. You can see that the neck area is like below the chin area, and it is also being part of this sphere. The jawline area is also very prominent and not as sharp as you've seen in the earlier references. Dividing the last portion into like two halves. Again, the upper half is where the lip end is going to be. So basically not all the rules are being broken. After I'm like confident with the ratios, I'm going to go ahead and draw the different features. First, I drew the shape of the nose, which is like a bit more prominent. You can see the base of the nose more, not the top. So I'm going to draw a triangle to denote that. I don't want to get into too much detail because I know that I will mess it up. I will only draw the outlines. The next thing I will do is use this as a guideline to draw the lips. My ADHD keeps kicking in, so I make sure that all the guidelines are in place. You can also see that a lot of these lines are curved. The shape of the eye is also curved. It's basically two C curves. It's not almond shape that you see on like a straight face. These guidelines are helping me draw the ends or the corner of the eye on the same plane. You see, this is what I do. I keep sketching and then I keep creating guidelines in the process. In the beginning, don't panic. Like, just focus on drawing the outline and then slowly, gradually build up layers. Kudos to people who actually like start off with a particular feature, say eyes, and then move to the next feature, and then finish it off and then move to the next feature. I could never do that. This is also the part where I start questioning my life's decision and what I'm doing. What am I even doing on YouTube? Anyway, I pick up a sharper pencil and I'm gonna go ahead and draw the eyes first. Everything is being viewed from the bottom, so I will keep the angles in mind during hatching. Because the light is coming from the top slightly, then you see that the upper lip is going to be darker because there's going to be shadows, while the lower lip is going to have highlights. I also love how this guy has no nose up until now. Mr. Voldemort is doing pretty much fine, but we're going to fit in the nose, and these nostrils are flaring. There's also going to be darker areas of shadows at the base of the nose, which I will hatch. There's a lot of prominent shadow near the jawline area. I'm gonna go ahead and hatch that very quickly. The guy is a curly head. I'm just gonna do like light stroke of hatching in the hair, and then I'm going to draw these random C curves. It gives an impression of like a curly head. I'm also going to release a female version later on, and I'm gonna shut the hell up for that one. I don't actually have a reference for it. I've lost all the references. So it will be like a much more relaxed Draw With Me series, and you will not be hearing me blabber in the background. As I promised, there will be the eye series coming, and there's a little fan art I did. Of what artist can you guess? And I also have this Procreate series. I actually got a DM from one of you guys, and you asked me to do a Procreate beginners tutorial. I'm gonna be making a small but a cute video on that as well. Until then, keep sketching, and see you around in the next one. I am so excited. Let's go. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. There are so many downloadables available on my Patreon. The links are in the bio. Okay, bye.